All right, we're calling to order our regular meeting of July 1st, 2026. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Here.
Commissioner Beck, Commissioner Chauncey,
Here.
Commissioner Eversall,
Here.
Commissioner Graham,
Here.
Commissioner Helton,
Here.
Dr. Highlander,
Here.
Dr. Mackey.
He will be late.
Thank you. Commissioner Sharp,
Here.
Commissioner Shipley, Chairman Smith.
Here. Our invocation and pledge will be by Commissioner Highlander. Please rise.
Let's pray. Our most kind and gracious God, we thank you for the blessings that we have this free nation. Within your divine will, Lord, may it always stay free. Lord, bless the members of this body as they make decisions. As we make decisions, Lord, let them be for you first and the people second, and ourselves far to the last. Thank you, Lord. Thank you so much for the opportunity that we have to represent the people. Lord, in all things, we want to honor you. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. This afternoon, we have one presentation. Hamilton County Planning Department. Mr. Janaway, are you presenting?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Commissioner Baker asked for an update on how progress was going, and so I've put this presentation together, and I'll try not to belabor the point because I know we've got a lot going on this evening. So for years, the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County have planned together, and the regional planning agency has done the planning for both the city of Chattanooga and the unincorporated areas. Over the years, unincorporated Hamilton County has had quite a bit of growth, and those growth pressures come with pains, as many of you that represent unincorporated areas understand. And so the decision was made by this commission that we move in a different direction and have a group of people that are looking very closely at unincorporated issues. And the goal of the new department is to have a dedicated team to look at those issues specifically, understand them, and provide good recommendations based off of those issues and constraints. So we moved pretty quickly. The notice that was given to the city had a fairly fast turnaround. Commission voted on March 18th. We started taking applications in the department on April 21st for new zoning cases and plats. We finalized our action plan to get the department together and have everything in order by early June. And you all as a body allocated roughly $900,000 to this department starting today. We're trying to build a strong foundation for the department. We launched a brand and a website. We've created application checklists for plats and zoning cases. We've created standard templates for agendas and presentations, as you'll see in coming months as we roll into those new presentation formats for the commission and the planning commission. And we've also prepared our first cycle of independent work for the July Planning Commission meeting, which you guys will see in August. We're diligently trying to build our staff out. As you know, we had 5 positions in the budget. We've hired 2 of those positions, and we have postings out for other positions, and we've already started the interview phase on some of those positions. I've been acting as interim director for the department as we wait for the city to make final approval of the interjurisdictional agreement, which will then give the mayor authority to make an appointment. Since that time, we've also had great support from the Hamilton County Clerk's Office, Hamilton County GIS Department, Hamilton County Engineering Department, and Development Services, which I also manage. We're trying to build a collaboration with RPA. As you know, we still share a planning commission, and so it's going to take really close partnership between us and that agency to manage those meetings, to come up with agendas, and just to work collaboratively between planning in the city and planning in the county. Obviously, what they do affects the unincorporated areas, and what the unincorporated areas do affects the cities. We met with the RPA on June 22nd. It was about an hour meeting where we went through everything, came up with formats. We're going to share several responsibilities to make things feel seamless for both County Commission, City Council, and also the Planning Commission. So our first big milestone is going to be the July 13th Planning Commission. We'll have to have case docs prepared, agenda packets prepared, staff presentations prepared, and notification to adjacent property owners where rezonings are going to take place. As of today, all of those items have been checked off and completed. Our goal for the department is really to make planning more accessible for everyone. We've heard complaints from residents over the years, complaints from commissioners over the years that they don't get enough information, they don't have enough visibility. Well, we're going to work really hard to fix that. The first item that we've done is all of our applications now are in our public OpenGov portal system. Almost all of those documents are accessible to the public immediately upon application. So commissioners can go look at applications, the public can go look at applications, but also for developers, we're providing real-time feedback. So if there's an issue with a case, something doesn't meet code, immediately when we catch it, we put a comment in the portal, and the developer that's doing that application can see those comments, and then they can make adjustments up to a certain point in that month. So I really think this is an opportunity for full transparency, again, for the public, for the elected members of our commission, as well as for developers to have real time updates for their cases. We're also looking to develop some dashboards to give you guys more information when you have rezoning cases come to you. Obviously, this commission oversees the budget for the whole county, including the school system. What are those constraints to school system when we do a rezoning case? Well, we're working with the school system intimately. I met with Dr. Sharp about a week ago and looked at how we can provide real-time data in the packets when we come forward with zoning cases to show you guys not only what the capacity of the schools are in those areas, but also what projects we're currently doing in those areas to go ahead and fix some of those issues. We also want to build a dashboard that shows ISO ratings, working with our volunteer fire teams to show you, what areas have constraints from a fire and emergency response situation. We're also working on a dashboard that gives real data on level of service for roads and intersections throughout unincorporated Hamilton County, and we'll have more to come on that. I think all of this information just helps everybody make better decisions. But it also, I think on the development side, gives them a lens into what their case will be filtered through on the front end. We plan to make all these tools live and accessible on the website. That way any resident, any builder, any elected official can go look at these things and see what might be triggered if a development moves forward. So we've put all the building blocks in place. We are ready for our first round of Planning Commission and County Commission. We are live with taking applications. We're already having those conversations with all the entities that feed into development decisions. Over the next month or two, we plan to try to fill out the department completely, be fully staffed by the end of the summer. And I think we'll have a team that will bring planning expertise and focus to unincorporated planning decisions. So just to recap, in 3 months, we've established processes, we've collaborated with our partners, we've prepared for Planning Commission and County Commission, and we've improved transparency. We think that we've delivered really good results in that short period of time, and we hope that it continues to get better going forward. I'm happy to take any questions from the commission.
Commissioner Eversole?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Mr. Janeway, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think from my standpoint, all along, it's about transparency. It's about if this body gets a development, is understanding the consequences of those developments and what it's creating. And it's exciting to hear you talk about that you're going to be able to share what the potential impact on the schools are, fire protection, safety, roads. I mean, I think for me, all along for almost 4 years now, I've been asking for that. And it's amazing. You've come in less than 3 months. You're telling us you're going to be able to provide us that data. So I think the average constituent, because the stakeholder really is the community. So the community will be able to get online and actually look at it and watch the progress as it goes along. I think that's a huge, huge win. And but no, that's exciting to hear. So thank you, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman.
Commissioner Baker?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate what Commissioner Eversole said. This is great. This is more of a, and I think we'll even more so of a plan. We talked before about no plan in RPA. I think this will be more of a plan, and particularly the dashboards, as we can see what's going on with fire and sewer and schools and roads. So I just wanted to commend you on that. It's good work in short time.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Highlander?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. John, thank you very much for what you've done so far, and look forward to seeing what you can do to help continue to do this. When do you think you'll be fully staffed? By the end of
We
the
hope by
summer?
the end of the summer. We're looking at different strategies to do that. Right now, we're obviously getting our feet under us. We're doing really well managing application intake and everything, but we're trying to figure out whether we need more people doing sort of busy work or whether we need to hire more people to do the planning work. The two people that we have in the department have a lot of experience reviewing the technical details, I would like for them to really focus on forward-thinking things. So it may be that we fill out more staff that can review some of those technical details so that they have more time to do some of the planning.
I mentioned when we made the vote that we need to have people who are trained in planning and understand that you're sending the people you have in training, and hopefully the ones you're looking for will have some advanced training.
Yes, sir.
I'd love to see your input on some things like Plan Hamilton. Your group could help us a lot in that.
Sure.
Things and the overall plan for the county. Thank you, Chairman.
Good, sir. Commissioner Shipley?
Thank you for your input. I know you put a lot of hard work into this. You've done a great job.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Janeway, no further lights.
Okay,
Thank you very
sir.
much. Appreciate it. Commissioner Mackey, did I miss you, sir? Mr. Janeway, we do have one for.
Thank you, Mr. Janeway.
Yes, sir.
You're having conversations with people going forward with development.
Yes, sir.
To what extent do you think the people you're dealing with understand the funding of government?
Well, we've done some work through the Plan Hamilton process. Even early on, we did some work to study, the effect of development on the tax base. And I don't know if you recall, we had a UTC professor dig into that and provide some feedback and recommendations. So we've used that document heavily to try to understand. It's an interesting conundrum because, theoretically, well, from the report, what we saw is that when you put a lot of density in an area, a lot of times your cost of services for those folks is about equal to the tax base that you get. But I don't know that that tells the full story, and I think we should probably do some more work to understand that completely.
Are you of the mindset that before development comes, that infrastructure, roads need to be built, schools need to be built, and sewers put in before buildings are allowed to be put in?
That's I guess a loaded question a little bit. I would say that yes, generally yes. Everybody's definition of what adequate roads and schools are is different. So I think what we want to understand in working with the school system and working with engineering teams is what is the actual level of service of the roads, not what is my interpretation of the road, not what is, the home builder's interpretation of the road, but what is the actual level of service of the road, and is it in good condition or is it in poor condition? And we want to provide that data to you as you make these decisions.
In, in making decisions, I've heard people say, we want growth, but we want smart growth and we want it in certain places. Has anybody ever said where those good places to put development should be? Are they in Hamilton County or the outlying areas? Where is it?
Yeah, this is just my personal opinion, but you want to put development where the infrastructure exists first, or you want to try to take advantage of the places where you have good infrastructure. So where we have roads that are not overcrowded, where we have sewer lines that still have capacity, that's really where you want to put the growth. And I think
Excuse me, one quick. Now, you realize downtown is crowded. The streets are crowded. We got roads that were not built for these oversized vehicles. And so it's kind of dangerous at times to drive downtown,
Sure.
even though it's developed.
Yeah. Well, I think what we want to do is try to get you all the data. That way you can make a good informed decision.
About this informed decision, the people you deal with, do they realize county government is funded by property taxes?
I think yes, sir. I would say that they do understand that.
Do they understand that prices like to turn the lights on, it's not going down. Insurance rates are not going down. These county workers expect some kind of increase, and that increase got to come from someplace.
Sure.
Usually property taxes. And if you don't have enough property taxes, what do you have to do to get the money?
Sure. Well, obviously, this commission are the ones that have to make those hard decisions on setting property tax rates and everything else. But I think this administration has been really creative in trying to come up with different ways to pay for things, and I think we'll continue to do that.
Oh, we have been taking steps to keep from raising taxes forever and a day.
Sure.
For example, we promote tourism. And as a result of our investments in tourism, the average Hamilton County taxpayer tax bill is over $1,200 less than it otherwise would be.
Sure.
But those same people, if you ask them, would they support a tax increase? What do you think they would say?
Yeah, the only counter I would make, Dr. Mackey, is that you've heard the mayor say several times that we're somewhat behind in road improvements, and I would generally agree with that based off of working out in the unincorporated area. And so I think that we have kept taxes low. The growth has helped keep us going steady. But we've also probably not made all the investments in roads that we should have made over the years. And so that does come with an extra price tag.
I want to be on board too.
Yes, sir.
But if it's not adding up, I'm trying to get answers ahead. I'm trying to get ahead of it.
Yes, sir. Well, my commitment to you is that we'll provide you with the best data to make the best decisions.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Janeway. All right, that takes us down to minutes needing entered and recorded for June 17th, 2026 agenda meeting and June 17th, 2026 regular meeting. What's the will of the body?
Move for approval.
Got a motion by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Highlander. Lights, no standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes. Madam Clerk, we have 2 reports entered into the record.
Will do, Chairman.
Thank you. Let's go on down to resolutions. Madam Clerk, please read 726-1.
Resolution 726-1, a resolution to approve and accept applications for notary public positions, the bonds and oaths of notaries previously elected, and the oaths of deputy sheriffs.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Commissioner Sharp, second by Commissioner Eversol. Lights, no standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton,
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-1 passes. Madam Clerk, 726-2, please.
Resolution 726-2, a resolution to appoint one member and to reappoint one alternate member to the Hamilton County Board of Zoning Appeals for a 5-year term beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending July 1st, 2031.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Graham, second by Commissioner Highlander. Lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton,
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-2 passes. Madam Clerk, please jump all the way down to 726-16 for the last item of Committee of the Whole, please.
Resolution 726-16, a resolution authorizing the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office to apply for a grant through the Department of Justice fiscal year 2026 Bridging Immigration-Related Deficits Experienced Nationwide Grant Program.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Graham, second by Commissioner Highlander. See no lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton,
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-16 passes. That completes our committees of a whole. That takes us down to Building and Economic Development. Commissioner Shipley, you have 4 resolutions, sir.
Madam Clerk, 726-3.
Resolution 726-3, a resolution authorizing the county mayor to execute a donation agreement with the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee Foundation and the city of Chattanooga regarding improvements to Pavilion Park.
Move for approval.
Second.
We got a motion by Commissioner Shipley, second by Commissioner Graham. Lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton,
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-3 passes.
Madam Clerk, I'd like to fund 726-4, 726-5.
Resolution 726-4, a resolution to declare a portion of the Hamilton County Port property located at Center South Riverport Industrial Park surplus property and to authorize its disposal in accordance with applicable law and policy. Resolution 726-5, a resolution to approve the proposal from Falabenha Investments LLC, doing business as Rytech Restoration of Greater Chattanooga, for remediation and associated restoration work at the McDaniel Building, not to exceed $509,370 for the Hamilton County Property Management Department, and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion by Commissioner Shipley, second by Commissioner Helton, and got a light, Commissioner Graham, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I ask Todd Lehman a question?
Absolutely.
Mr. Lehman, on the McDaniels building, is this, I realize that we could get into more than we choose or bite off sometimes, but does this look like this is gonna fix that building and what's the time frame?
For some reason, my mic's not.
There's too many of them, probably.
Yeah, mine's blinking too.
Lights on now?
There it goes.
Still on?
It's working now.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have, we quoted, we actually went in and quoted a lot of work relative to some remediation work. We did add on a substantial contingency just to make sure we can complete that project. So we do intend for that to be completed. And I believe we're hopefully somewhere, I believe we've executed that, and I'll have to double check. I'm not exactly sure on time frame, but we think probably the next, I don't see my here, probably in the next 4 to 6 months. But they plan to move in. A lot of it has to do with the PTAC units and some of the exterior walls, and so they'll move systematically through the building to complete that work.
Thank you for your diligence on this, sir. You do a great job. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, no further lights, no standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton,
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-4 and 726-5 pass.
Madam Clerk, 726-8.
Resolution 726-6, a resolution approving the purchase and delivery of kitchen equipment for the Harrison Community Center from Trimark USA LLC from the Sourcewell Purchasing Corporative amounting to $313,450.24 for the Hamilton County Parks and Recreation Department, and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
There was some discussion last week. I move for approval.
Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Shipley, second by Commissioner Mackey. No lights, no one standing, roll call please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander? Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-6 passes. Move into rules and legislative, Commissioner Hilton.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Clerk, could you read 726-7?
Resolution 726-7, a resolution of the Hamilton County Commission adopting HIPAA policies and procedures for the Hamilton County General Government and authorizing implementation and administration of such policies and procedures through the Hamilton County Compliance Department and the Office of the Hamilton County Attorney.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Commissioner Highlander, or a motion by Commissioner Hilton, second by Commissioner Highlander, but I do have a few lights, so we'll go to those first. Commissioner Sharp, I see you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I had a pretty good conversation with our attorney about this earlier today, and I know there's a couple of things in here. I mean, there's, I don't know, a lot of pages. There's a handful of things that I believe need to be addressed a little differently. But for the sake of expediency of getting this resolution affirmed, passed, and in place, I will support the resolution today. I just want to be clear on the record that I'm supporting this with every intention of bringing this back up in a couple of weeks to bring forward some different language to make a few changes to it. And maybe if Attorney Varnell, if you would speak just briefly to that, you understand that, and we're all okay with that?
Yes, we talked about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Mackey?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just want to ask the attorney, does she think these rules are going to be beneficial for Hamilton County employees?
I do, sir. And the reason why is because they're very clear about what our employees need to do in order to comply with HIPAA, in order to ensure that the measures that we're taking now avoid data breaches, the fact that we need business associate agreements with a lot of our vendors, and it clearly outlines the process by which we will achieve that.
Okay, I'm taking you at your word. You know, I'm one of those who are skeptical of government. I don't like big government and overpowering people. I'm a UAW guy, and consequently, every protection for the workers is something that I want to ensure happen. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Good, sir. No further lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 726-7 passes. That takes us to Public Safety. Commissioner Beck, you have 5 resolutions, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Clerk, would you read 726-8, please?
Resolution 726-8, a resolution requesting to waive the procurement rules and authorize the county mayor to relinquish Hamilton County's interest in a 2008 Ford E450 van with 10,324 miles, co-titled with Hamilton County Stars, which will be sold and the proceeds used to assist with purchasing a replacement vehicle.
Mr. Chairman, we did have some questions about this last time. Do we have any, of all minds clear?
I see no light, sir.
If so, we would recommend approval.
All right, I've got a motion by Commissioner Beck, second by Commissioner Highlander. Still no lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Beck,
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey.
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Helton.
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Dr. Mackey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp.
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley. Chairman Smith.
Yes, 726-8 passes.
Mr. Chairman, can we, rather than have me struggle through all of this, the next four, uh, we didn't seem to have any problems with any of the reappointments. So I'm going to ask if we can bundle the next four.
Sounds good. Madam
Right.
Clerk?
Resolution 726-9, a resolution reappointing Lori Miller as Judicial Commissioner for a term beginning May 1st, 2026 and ending April 30th, 2028, and establishing the compensation to be received. Resolution 726-10, a resolution reappointing Lori Miller as Chief Judicial Commissioner for a term beginning May 1st, 2026 and ending April 30th, 2028, and establishing the compensation to be received. Resolution 726-11, a resolution reappointing Rachel W. Ortwine as Judicial Commissioner for a term beginning May 1st, 2026 and ending April 30th, 2028, and establishing the compensation to be received. Resolution 726-12, a resolution reappointing Blake Murchison as Judicial Commissioner for a term beginning May 1st, 2026 and ending April 30th, 2028, and establishing the compensation to be received.
Are there any questions?
No, sir.
We recommend approval of all four resolutions.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Beck, second by Commissioner Mackey. Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Beck.
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey.
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Helton.
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Dr. Mackey. Commissioner Sharp.
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley. Chairman Smith.
Yes, 726-9, 726-10, 726-11, and 726-12 pass. That takes us down to Finance and Budget Committee. Commissioner Eversol?
Yeah, Madam Clerk, could you read 726-13, please?
Resolution 726-13, a resolution to authorize the county mayor to enter into and execute an interlocal donation agreement with Hamilton County Parks and Recreation and the City of Chattanooga Department of Parks and Outdoors to provide improvements to East Lake Community Center dugouts for an amount not to exceed $16,552.
We discussed this 2 weeks ago and discussed again in our Finance Committee meeting earlier. Didn't have any questions. It's great to see the county working with the city, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Eversol, and I heard like 4 seconds up here. All right, Commissioner Graham's got the second. See no lights, no one standing, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker.
Yes.
Commissioner Beck.
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey.
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Helton.
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Dr. Mackey.
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp.
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley. Chairman Smith.
Yes, 726-13 passes. Takes us down to Public Works and Zoning. Commissioner Highlander?
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Clerk, would you read 726-14, please?
Resolution 726-14, a resolution adopting Plan Hamilton as the regional general plan for the unincorporated area of Hamilton County, Tennessee.
Move to approve. Second.
All right, I've got a motion to approve by Commissioner Chauncey, a second by Commissioner Sharp. I do have lights. Were you the second? Commissioner Mackey had the second on that one. Commissioner Eversol, I got your light, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. I was excited to hear Mr. Janeway in 3 months and what we've done to the Hamilton County Planning Department, how it's pulled together and how this body is going to get more data, the speed of the data, fingertips matter, what technology is doing and is coming into government. What I'd like to do is, since we're learning more about what the planning department is going to be doing, I'd like to table this and see what maybe we can get the Hamilton County Planning Department to help us look at this and maybe fine tune it more for the unincorporated parts of the county for the future.
So I was in the form of a motion, sir, with a
Yes, sir.
second. All right, we currently have a motion to table on the floor by Commissioner Eversol, a second by Commissioner Shipley. At this point, I'm gonna do a little bit of procedure here. The public will still get to address this item if you were curious about it. However, nobody else up here on the dais will, except for Commissioner Chauncey, because he is the one that introduced this item. Reason being is that a table is a non-debatable item, so we will not be discussing it any further. with the exception of Commissioner Chauncey, if he'd like to make a few comments. And I do not see his light at this time. So we will move into public comment on this item. I'm assuming we've got in favor and in opposition here today. Who do we have lined up? If you're in favor, let me see your hands. So in favor is over here. So everybody lined up currently is in opposition. Sorry, sorry. Good call. Because it is a table, it just means that we will not be voting on it. It will not pass tonight if the table succeeds. So I guess from my perspective, I want to make sure that we hear everybody's voice today. If you are in favor of Plan Hamilton, or if you are not in favor of Plan Hamilton, I want to give each body 10 minutes, each group of people a total of 10 minutes to speak on it. Not the fact that it's a table on the, that we're discussing right at the moment, just Plan Hamilton in general. Does that make sense? All right, so it looks like those that are lined up on the wall are not in favor of Plan Hamilton. Madam Clerk, I'd like to see 10 minutes on the clock, please. You will have 10 total minutes for everybody. So please be mindful of those behind you. Please, name and address for the record.
My name is Elizabeth Baker. My address is 1111 Ridgeway Avenue, Signal Mountain, Tennessee, 37377. I'm also the mayor of Signal Mountain. And today I just wanted to come and talk a little bit about, I hear a lot how municipalities get the short end of the stick all the time, and that's why all of this extra development needs to happen. And I can't totally argue with that, but I can argue with it in the case of our municipality, because we kind of live on an island with a fairly large unincorporated area and another municipality. And we are the only municipality that offers any type of services. And those services are certainly shared, but not paid for by everybody. So by increasing the population in the unincorporated areas of Signal Mountain is definitely going to stress the areas in which our tax base is solely responsible for. Roads, for example. We see when the county makes a decision to put in a mobile classroom, it affects our neighborhood streets because the schools up there are built for neighborhood schools and they're on neighborhood streets, not to have a population more than what the initial school could hold. So again, we see that with the school support we do, the recycling center, it's impossible really to only open up the recycling center to citizens. So everybody uses it. And it's kind of a wonderful community building activity on a Saturday. If anybody is on Signal on Saturday, go to the recycling center, you'll get it. It's one of the most popular areas, but there's no enforcement of non-residential folks using that. And frankly, that would be cost prohibitive to really enforce that sort of thing. And that is why I feel that the state has really addressed what the county should do in the case of coming up with growth plans and that sort of thing. CCA 13-3-4 talks about how the planning commission and the people that are putting together this plan should be working with the municipalities within the county. That never happened. The first time we were heard on it is after we passed a resolution. We passed that resolution, which quickly got ignored. And the only thing we asked for is that you change back to what the professionals, the planning professionals, suggested to do on that mountain. I don't really care what happens outside of our mountain because I don't represent those people. But that's one of the reasons, the purpose of that statute is to promote the coordination and adjustment of a growth plan. Very similarly, 6-58 talks about how your growth plan must be consistent with public services. Well, if you are to develop, which by the standards in Plan Hamilton, you will be developing it at a faster pace than the town of Signal Mountain, where our services are 24/7 services, and you don't offer that. So you should not be looking to put that type of density in an area where you don't have the services to support it. And here's the thing, is like, I get that it's hard to kind of go against it. Recently, the town of Signal Mountain made some zoning changes and it turned some heads and I got lots of mean calls about it, and that's happened and that's okay. But something I'm really shocked about happened, because it wasn't just that I got a lot of phone calls from some attorneys going, you're not allowed to do that. And a couple of people from the Home Builders Association showing up at some meetings and telling me how wrong I was. But what happened outside of that, hundreds, not a couple, hundreds of citizens throughout this county emailed me or text messaged me or messaged me on Facebook and was like, come to my town and do this. We're not heard. I mean, I had, other than Signal Mountain, most residents from Eastridge calling me saying, this is great. I love that you're listening to your citizens. We don't have that here.
And
And that
Mayor
breaks my
Baker,
heart.
we're using up an awful lot of
Okay,
time here, and
thank
there's
you.
people behind you.
And
but-
I
okay.
am done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. The Home Builders and Realtors Association brought 5 pages of changes at the last hour that were adopted by the Planning Commission. This is self-regulation. Citizens were ignored. Traffic studies were ignored. Studies showing development doesn't pay for infrastructure was ignored. The lack of road connectivity with detour distance of over 10 miles was ignored. Examples showing higher density doesn't always equate to affordability was ignored. Lack of school capacity was ignored. So the school board adopted a growth capacity policy to protect the existing students. A recent fire and rescue services study found existing fire coverage and road connectivity are limited in several rural areas that are identified as level 1, which can't support intensive development, and multiple areas are beyond desirable emergency response times. Nothing in the plan addresses infrastructure improvement needed for this amount of growth. Developers argue property rights that impose HOA rules and restrictions that limit homeowners' ability to do what they want to do with their property. Developers oppose one-time impact fees, but homeowners have to pay HOA fees, stormwater, and road maintenance. Developers argue high density creates affordable housing. That's not what's being built, and HOA fees and other costs are part of the cost of a home that makes it unaffordable for most people. This plan doesn't ensure infrastructure improvements, affordability, or property rights for everyone. The new planning department should have a chance to make a real area plan based on real data. Thank you.
Jennifer Duval, Sail Creek, Coulterville Road. We don't have the infrastructure or the resources in the budget to bring infrastructure like roads, schools, et cetera, up to date, let alone to get ahead of any significant density. We voted for Hamilton County Planning. Let's give Hamilton County Planning a chance.
Clay Crumblis, 313 Arrow Drive, Signal Mountain. I'm the Vice Mayor of the town of Signal Mountain. I'm here to ask you to vote no on Plan Hamilton in its current form. This is not the plan that Hamilton County taxpayers paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to create. For 3 years and through many public meetings, residents told the RPA what they wanted. Slower, more sustainable growth, development concurrent with infrastructure, and less density in rural areas. That plan existed. Then in a last minute, quote unquote, compromise with home builders and realtors, it was cast aside. The overwhelming majority of county residents oppose what replaced it, a special interest plan masquerading as the deliberate outcome of a public process. Commissioners most supportive of this version largely represent districts with 0 unincorporated county, a density standard designed for cities such as Chattanooga, Red Bank, or East Ridge does not work for every community. The commissioners who do represent the unincorporated areas are being ignored by their colleagues who will not have to answer for the long-term consequences of imposing their urban standards on their rural neighbors. I'd ask you to reconsider the revenue argument because it doesn't hold up. We're told this growth will pay for itself. It has not, and it will not. Adding density in rural areas with no wastewater infrastructure, limited roadway capacity, insufficient volunteer fire service, and no funded plan to invest in growth is not a strategy. While this plan raises density on rural land by as much as 50%, the town of Signal Mountain recently voted to do the opposite in our town limits by significantly reducing densities for new developments. And I'd ask you to think hard about what that means for people who live on the Walden Plateau. We have 3 roads on and off the mountain, only one of which is somewhat reliable. In emergencies requiring evacuation, those 3 roads are the only lifeline our residents have, and that's not hyperbole. It's the reality for folks that live on the ridgetop. Adding density without adding additional services is not just a matter of convenience, it's dangerous. I ask every commissioner on this dais, if that were your community with your families at risk, would this vote feel different to you? If you're unsure, ask your fellow commissioner who lives on the mountain and see how he feels. Finally, consider that those whose interest this plan actually serves. The entire purpose of Plan Hamilton was to honor different parts of the county that have different development needs. The purpose was abandoned the moment the RPC let a trade association rewrite it for their own benefit. But it's not your job to serve their agenda. Your duty is to the people who elected you, the same people who are begging you to reject this plan. Make no mistake, this will harm Hamilton County, it will harm rural areas, and it will harm small municipalities like ours, left to absorb unconstrained growth around our borders without a dollar of the resulting tax revenue. Please reject this Plan Hamilton. Go back to the version that actually considered each area of this county and reflected what your citizens asked for. Thank you.
Anybody else for another 28 seconds that we're on here? Sir, are you here to speak in opposition to Plan Hamilton?
My name?
No,
Ron-
are you here to speak in opposition to Plan Hamilton?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
We only had about 28 seconds. Is that okay if we can?
28 seconds?
Yep.
Wow. I'll
How
do
how
that.
about we give you a minute? Is that all right?
Yes, I guess so.
Okay.
All right.
Name and address for the record.
All right. Ronnie Barnes, 5536 Hunter Road, Ottawa, Tennessee, 37363. Ottawa is busting at the seams. Gentlemen, we don't have any more room for any more people. It is so bad, it's unreal. Dr. Mackey, you spoke just a moment ago about roads. Let me tell you something. I live on one of the most dangerous roads in the county called Hunter Road. That road right now, gentlemen, if something happened to me out there, living out there, and my whole family lives out there, my grandchildren live out there, they all live out there. If something happened to them or to me, like if I needed help, I couldn't get an ambulance out there. There's no way. Ask the sheriff, ask anybody who's in that county, okay, just how it works. Can't get down that road. There's nowhere to go. If we needed a fire truck, we couldn't get it. Needed ambulance, we couldn't get it. We needed a sheriff, we couldn't get it. We just can't get it. Right now, they're getting ready to build 220 new homes out there, 220. And then they're having apartments, they're going to have about 1,600 or more people out there. That's going to be on the road. I don't know how we're going to handle all that. In the city itself, you can't handle anything.
Mr. Barnes, I-
Gentlemen,
I've
just
gotta
one
put an end to it just
one
'cause
last
it's-
thing.
All right, finish up so we can
I
be
will
fair
finish
to
right here, I
everybody.
promise. Gentlemen, let me tell you something. I came up believing that the commissioner is supposed to take care of me. All my life, I believed that. I want to believe that about you, that you're going to take care of me and my family and my loved ones. If it was your people, your family, your kids, you'd feel the same way. And I ask you today to please, please, hear what I'm trying to tell you, that we can't take any more. Please work with us if you would. I appreciate it. You know, when we did the Pledge of Allegiance, sir, I said that, Mr. Smith said the Pledge of Allegiance, it had we the people in there. We are the people. We need to take care of the people, not the other people who are trying to make money.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
I appreciate that.
All right, we will move to those that are in favor of Plan Hamilton. Just when you get a moment.
Good evening. I'm Jason Farmer, Riverstone Construction, 6005 Century Oaks Drive, Chattanooga. I'm here on behalf of the Home Builders Association of Chattanooga. We have a large crowd of our members and supporters here. I'm here on behalf of our electricians, our plumbers, our earth movers, our framers, our roofers, our subcontractors, our vendors. Over 120 businesses touch every new home construction start. 120 businesses touch every new home construction start. Somewhere along the lines, this narrative of stop development, close the door, lock the gate, the bottom of the mountain, has become incredibly popular. I try not to go down the rabbit hole of Facebook and those kind of things too often, but there's been a lot of pretty much untrue and a little bit awful things said about people that build homes and develop neighborhoods for a living, provide homes and develop neighborhoods for a living. You look at the average net worth of somebody that rents a home, and you look at the average net worth of somebody that owns a home, it's dramatically different. A lot of times the American dream is is your largest asset. And we're trying to protect that. We're trying to protect these jobs right here. A lot of things have been said about Plan Hamilton and how the Home Builders Association and how, which is much larger than just our group, we represent all of these trades, have come through this process. Guys, we've been doing this for a long time, a whole long time. It is our ask that this body approve the plan that was passed by the Planning Commission, the plan that we've worked on for so long. Yes, the community has input. We have had input. We have tried to be helpful. The plan currently changes things like A1 on no sewer to 2 units an acre to 1.5. R1 with sewer, 7 to 3. R1 no sewer, 7 to 1.5. Decentralized to 2.75. It adds buffer zones, additional setback requirements, perimeter screening, limited developments in the floodplains. This is, in our view, what a good plan and compromise looks like. Your current county planning commission, or excuse me, your current planning department is using Plan Hamilton as a guideline currently. I'm proud to stand here with arrows in my back and tell you that I'm proud to be a homeowner. I'm proud to be a real estate developer. I'm proud to sell houses in this county. You know, the average homeowner now is over 35 years old. It takes a combined household income of $110,000 to afford what is a median house right now in Hamilton County of $400,000. These sheriff deputies in the back, these fellows right here that I love in the yellow shirts, school teachers, you know, how are they gonna buy these houses? How are we gonna provide houses? We are going up and up and up in price. And what we are trying to do is provide homes. I hope your grandkids move back here. I certainly hope my kids stay here. I hope when I have grandkids that they live in Hamilton County, and that's what we're trying to provide. I encourage you to vote for this plan. We've worked really hard on this. I feel like it has been a collaboration. It has certainly been very open process throughout. I think each of you probably know exactly what you're voting for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer.
All right, my name is Joshua Ballard. I live, I just moved. That's going to be 102 Myrtle Lane in Ottawa, Tennessee. Just want to start with this. I am a fan of Plan Hamilton. There are some minor things, of course, that need to be adjusted just like every other plan. However, I actually went through the trouble. I read every single page of my area map. That's going to be Area 12. What I discovered in this, which I believe should be slightly altered, plan amendments, or in other words, changing of the plan, is able to happen every 6 months based on the current construction of the plan. There is a lot of good opinions and insights. Some people are just against housing, which is okay. But if you move that up from 6 months to a 1 month period for the first 6 months of the actual enacting of the plan, I think that would actually solve a lot of problems in the sense of what Mr. Mackey was pointing out earlier, which was we gotta fix these roads, we gotta fix this infrastructure. However, I am a fan of the plan. However, if we moved up that timeline, I believe that would begin to answer questions that Mr. Mackey does have. Now, as far as the plan, I've heard a lot of things. Unfortunately, someone said this on Facebook. Yeah, there's a lot of talk on there. one of the things I've heard most often is that there's been no opportunity for input on the plan. Stated on the plan is 35 different meetings in which various county commissioners and the county mayor and many other people were there to hear input on this plan. I'm a fan of that kind of leadership. I like that kind of leadership. And a lot of my other questions, I'm going to be honest, Nathan, you answered that, most of them already. However, the last thing that I would pretty much try to leave everyone, I guess, with, if I can find it, if I'm smart enough, is to require large developments to make commercial areas in front of the developments. This is going to cut down a lot on that road use. If we build a giant mega development and we put a daycare in the very front of it, what that is going to mean is that instead of all these people flooding out onto these main roads, they're going to be there in their community. My wife is a stay-at-home mother. I work at a scrap yard. She's going to be able to drive down the street, drop the kid off at daycare, and go on with her day. And that's not going to interfere at all with the main infrastructure. And I have heard a lot of people talk about sewer infrastructure, things like that. I used to work at a sewer company. I used to haul sewer pipe. That's what I used to do. I used to deal in, I leave that part out. But in the plan, at least for my area, these questions are addressed. There's maps, there's big blown up. You can also look it up online using GIS of places where developments or potential developments have been outlined and suggested on if we build in these areas, we're going to have to, we're basically going to have less infrastructure because it's already there. So that's why I'm in favor of it. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to speak on the in favor of Plan Hamilton? All right, with that, Madam Clerk, we have a motion on the floor to table this item. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Beck,
No.
Commissioner Chauncey,
No.
Commissioner Eversole,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
No.
Commissioner Helton,
No.
Dr. Highlander,
Yes.
Dr. Mackey,
No.
Commissioner Sharp,
No.
Commissioner Shipley, Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. Going back to our original motion. We had an original motion by Commissioner Chauncey, seconded by Commissioner Mackey. Commissioner Eversole, I see your light. By the way, now that we are back on the original motion, it is not a table motion. It is now debatable again. Commissioner Eversole. No light?
There we go. I think we got it now. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. If we decided not to table, I would like to ask for a couple amendments. And I'm going to talk through both amendments. I think what we need to understand, this body, and I'm going to hopefully help us all understand the scope of this. This is not about stopping development. I keep hearing people say it's about, close the gates. It's not about that. It's about creating space to where we can still have space, but still have homes. I want my kids to move here. I want my grandkids to move here. And I want us to keep as many people employed as we can keep employed, but there's a right way and a wrong way. And I'll give you an example. If you look at the fastest between April the 1st, 2020 and July the 1st of 2024, that's over a 4-year period. I'll pause if there's other conversations. The 6 fastest growing counties in the state of Tennessee, number 1 is Rutherford County. Rutherford County added almost 36,000 residents in that window of time. Knox County added almost 28,000 new residents. Montgomery County added 26,000 new residents. Wilson County added 22,000 new residents. Williamson County added 21,000 new residents, and Hamilton County added 19,419 new residents. Of that, I'm going to use Knox County as an example because we got the opportunity to call Knox County and talk to Knox County about, hey, what were some of your growing pains? Because everybody knows Knox County is growing leaps and bounds. And they said what they had to do, and they pretty much stuck to it, is about a year and a half ago, they had to put a limitation on density because they found out that all these new homes was bringing in new taxes, but those new taxes were only taking care of those little pods is all it's taking care of. It wasn't doing anything to the roads leading to that development. There was not a tax base to widen a road getting to that development. Was not there. So Knox County made the decision to go from multiple density per acre. They decided to go to 1 per acre. Rutherford County had the same issue, which is the fastest growing. They went to 1 home per acre. Montgomery County had the same issue, which is the 3rd fastest growing, and they went to 1.5 acres per home. Wilson County went to 1.84 acres per home. Williamson County, because they couldn't keep up with the infrastructure and the schools and the fire and the safety, went to 5 acres per home, while Hamilton County, on an average, is sitting pretty close to about 3/4 to 1 home per acre based off of sewer, no sewer, decentralized, and so forth. So it doesn't balance out. You know, we've got more homes on the market today than we've had in, I think, 14, 15 years that's available. I would like to see, as the first part of this amendment, is us to go to lot sizes of half acre. And that's moving in the right direction, but it's not going where the other counties, they're going to 1, or they're going to 1.5 acres or 5 acres per home. We don't need to go that far. But I would be satisfied to say if we could just amend and go to half acre lot sizes, that would be a huge stretch. And that would be in A1 equivalent zones. It's just go to half acre lot sizes. The second thing I'd like to consider with this amendment, and once I talk about it, I'll kind of pass this out. If you think about over the last few years, there's things that's happening in our community, and we call it natural disasters, but they could be, I'm not going to say they are, but they could be like man-created natural disasters. Especially think of the flooding this week. My home state is Kentucky, okay? I had family that was affected. As a matter of fact, my first cousin and his wife live in rural Madison County, Kentucky, which is the seat is Richmond, Kentucky, where I was raised. Had a little farm, and it never been flooded before. Doesn't have flood insurance, but they had huge developments that were happening, and they had no floodplain protection. So what happened was that water has to go somewhere. So it swelled creeks, swelled rivers. He ended up losing horses, lost his tractor, lost his barn, which was about I guess a 12-stall barn, lost his house in an area that never flooded before. Now, this is going to happen. You're going to have these natural disasters, and you can't blame necessarily just development. You got to blame on what we're doing and how we're trying to compromise with development. I would think as my second point in this, other than half acre lot sizes, my second point is if we build in floodplains, let's trade 1 acre for 1 acre. That if we take it out of the floodplain, 1 acre, then let's put 1 acre back in the floodplain within that development. So that way we're not running that water on neighbors, down the stream, into the city, and God forbid we have something like that happen on I-24 again. Okay, because that water has to go somewhere, right? So let's just simplify it and say if you build in a floodplain, let's go 1 acre for 1 acre. So that way you're swapping it. So you're not moving it necessarily onto your neighbor or down the street. So I'd like to put that in the form as a motion, is that if, you know, obviously we're going to move forward with Plain Hamilton, but at least let's do these two amendments, and let's go with half acre lot sizes for A1. And then let's look at the floodplain. If we're building a floodplain, let's trade them out. Let's go 1 acre for 1 acre.
Yes, that's what it was. Commissioner Mackey, I see your light.
Thank you, Chair. I've heard people say, or use that phrase, we're from the government and we're here to help you. I'm one of those people, I don't believe in big government in your private life, telling you what to do with your property. If you talk about floodplains and whatnot, steep slopes, North Chattanooga wouldn't have a building on it. It wouldn't have a building on it. What I am in favor of is freedom, letting people, if they're not creating crimes, and if they're paying their property, let people live their lives. If their neighbors want it, let them buy it. If they want that view, let them buy it. Somebody said a minute ago, and I think it was disingenuous about there not being enough meetings, but my friend right here, and I'm gonna call him my brother, and I hope he doesn't curse me out. He said 35 meetings were held so people's voices could be heard. But people are saying anything. And what I'd like to do is to let people live their lives, rule over their own homes. And if their neighbors want that view, these streets downtown are crowded and unsafe. Drive across the Market Street Bridge. You're going to have to duck. You're going to have to duck these big trucks and these big vans. The roads are crowded downtown. You come downtown during the evening, you can't get around that easily. So long story short, I want to keep government out of your life. I want people to live freely, own their own property, abide by the law, and pay their taxes. We said it a moment ago. And by the way, you got, Jason, how many business owners are being impacted by the Builders Association? Thousands of good jobs. All right, Chair, thank you.
Good, sir. Commissioner Baker.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate this gentleman actually coming in with some ideas on how to be more flexible.
My brother.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, your brother. I think it's everybody's. I'd like to thank our mayor of Signal Mountain and vice mayor for coming forward and telling us what most people aren't listening to, which is the analogy I've always given, which is one size doesn't fit all. The needs that we have, be it roads, and we're not talking about just regular roads, which everyone has, but I'm talking about roads up and down the mountain. You know, you've got, in January, we had all 3 roads gone. And God forbid a medical emergency happened to you. Hopefully life force is fine. That's your only way off. I'd like to thank all the people, Kurt, Barry, Brian, Tommy, all the ones that have helped in this process. We're not going to quit. We're going to do the right thing because everyone has spoken. But one size doesn't fit all. And I just, for the life of me, don't understand why it has to be one. I had a developer, a very renowned developer, you know, saying the same thing. The same thing that we're not hearing in Plan Hamilton is that, you know, development can be done. And we're none of us are against development, just done right. I had a big time realtor call me last week. I was like, oh, here it comes. No, he totally agrees with us that we should, the plan should reflect the needs of the community. Every part of this community is different. It should reflect that. And I hope, Nathan, that in this new planning process, that we're more sensitive to that, because that's what we need. That's what we should have. And very, very disappointed. It is what it is, you know, but I wish we would at least adopt these two small amendments. Because like you said, you know, we should be more flexible. We should be a bit able to adjust things as we go to make it more reflective of the needs. So thank you for what you said. Thank you for what the mayor and vice mayor said, and for everyone else who's helped in this process. Everyone counts on us getting it right, so let's get it right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Hilton?
I just wanted a little clarity on that first part of the amendment, wanting to move to half-acre lot sizes.
Yes, in A1.
In A1. Is that on septic? I was just trying to.
Just be all. Just
Okay.
half-acre lot sizes, because we're pretty much out sewer right now.
On septic, Plan Hamilton moves it to less than that currently in its current formation on septic. I just wanted to point that out.
What was that total?
1.5 on septic currently, so that's 2 per acre. I was just trying to get clarity. I didn't know if we were trying to raise that back up. I was just curious. Just getting clear.
Sure. Okay, can I respond? I think right now, most of our unincorporated area, number one, is out of sewer. Unless it's already spoke for, so we're out of sewer.
Okay.
And I don't think, personally, if you get into a lot of the areas, can we get 2 per acre to perk?
Oh, no,
In most areas.
I was just saying if we have
So-
a half-acre lot on septic, that's 2.
That means you get a half-acre lot, but you get 2 if it perks, but you're not gonna get it to perk. I mean, if you look at most of the Hamilton County, it's unperkable, so.
Okay, I was
So,
just getting clarity. Yeah.
Just lot size. Lot size,
On septic, you have to have 25,000 square feet
right.
currently, and that's more than a half of an acre. That's all I was saying.
You're reducing it.
You're reducing it.
Okay. Well, I say to equal to, you know, I think just half-acre lot sizes is my main point, so.
Commissioner Highlander?
Thank you, Chairman. I've got a former student, and who grew up in Hamilton County, who has her PhD in environmental control. And I had her look over this last week, and she said, and talk about the floodplain. She said, where she is, they require 2.5 acres to replace 1 acre that's filled in floodplain. And she says that's the only way to keep it safe for the people who are already living there. Commissioner Eversole mentioned his relative that had the farm decimated and his home decimated, barn and so forth. And I want, and I think everyone here wants people's property rights to be maintained. But how about when we make changes that hurt the people who are already there? We can't afford to do that. I don't believe it's fair for us to do that. We need to take care of the people who are already there as well as those coming in. And I think they're reasonable, and they're small amendments, and I think they're reasonable. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Beck?
Sherman, is there any comments on these amendments? Do we get to make any comments?
Yeah, yes, sir,
the
right now.
audience. The audience. Make any comments before the vote?
I mean, we can welcome comments, but no, typically it's
vote,
just the
okay.
item in general,
Okay.
right? Commissioner Shipley?
On clarity on this, I want to support and limit as much as possible. But Commissioner Helton, what were you saying there about it's been a long time since we've been through all this. I want to know exactly what your point was.
Well, if we reduced, A1 on septic, if you said a half-acre minimum lot, that's 2 homes per acre, correct?
Right.
Currently, an acre is 43,506 or 43,560 square feet. Our current minimum is 25,000 feet. That's a proposed reduction. Does it make sense? Am I not getting that right? I mean, I was just trying to figure out, making sure I was clear on what we were voting on. That's all I was asking.
So the 25,000 feet now.
It's 25,000 foot for a minimum for a lot on septic tank currently. This proposal reduces it to 21,730. 43,560 square feet in an acre. I wasn't trying to be argumentative. I just wanted clarity.
All right. It's, can I ask a question to Jason Farmer?
Sure.
Can you come up here, Jason? So it looks like we're in the middle.
Because Plan Hamilton moves that number out further. It's 1.5. It increases the number of square footage in the lots from what this is proposed to. I didn't understand why we were proposing to shrink it. That's all I was saying.
I don't either. I don't want to shrink it if we're not.
That's what the amendment was.
So one house on an acre. Where does that put y'all?
If we have in A1, if we do one house per acre, that would change the density from currently now it's 2 houses per acre in A1. So we would lose one house per acre.
But you're not going to get a house on a half acre, a decent sized house in septic, right?
You know, I heard Commissioner Eversole talk about that. I have a number of subdivisions on septic tanks. David Myers, who's a very well-known soil scientist here in Chattanooga, typically does all of our work. You can. And then here, and I think, what's left out in this argument is there's, some alternative septic tank systems that are more expensive, but they do allow within the county's guidelines and the state's guidelines to be able to do some alternative things than just your basic septic tank. So I would debate that because we are seeing that. I rarely agree with Mr. Baker, but like all size doesn't fit one in this regard. So every property is a little bit different. So it's not impossible to get 2 houses per acre on septic tank in certain areas for sure.
But it's got to be a perfect MPI. It can't be a high MPI unless you go to
correct
some high dollar mound system or something.
Yes, sir. There's some alternative systems that are possible.
Okay, we've addressed decentralized.
Yes, sir.
They're not as favorable to y'all as they once were because you got to go through WWTA, correct?
When WWTA first had their decentralized regulations, there were, I think, 3 decentralized facilities built in the county, and since they've changed their regulations, there's been none.
That's right. Number one, I'm scared of them because what it can do, WWTA in the future, and come right over here to this board. Whether I'm here or who's here, it can devastate Hamilton County. So right now, with Plan Hamilton, we're at 2 per acre. Is that what we're saying here?
Without sewer, we're currently at 2, and we're going to 1.5.
1.5 houses per acre.
On septic tanks, yes, sir.
Could y'all live with 1 house per acre?
I feel like we have. I feel like 1.5 is a reasonable suggestion. So the math gets really tough at 1 per acre. The answer is no. Unfortunately, we would really prefer to stay at 1.5 per acre, Commissioner.
How do you feel about Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Helton? What do you think? To help the people less density, 1 per acre.
Well, in relation to the specific topic, Plan Hamilton, we're currently in Hamilton County are at 2 per acre. Plan Hamilton moves it to 1.5 an acre. I feel that is a concession. It's larger than a 25,000 square foot lot. It puts it, somewhere in the neighborhood of 31 or 32,000 square feet. The same with the floodplain concerns. How it has been in our county forever is you could fill all the floodplain, whether you're building residential or, a big commercial building, you could fill in a swamp. Now it's going to be 60%. I think that's a move and a good move in the right direction. I'm not willing to make a concession.
Well, there is one thing where you can take a hole, fill it full of dirt, compact it and build on it if you got sewer. And we're running out of sewer. So when you have property like that, you're going to very well limit the amount of homes in an acreage area.
Yeah, and that's true, but you can't fill in compact and put septic in there because
I
it's
know.
not virgin dirt. So this is strictly a sewer conversation on the fill side. You're not going to fill an area where you're doing septic. You can't do that.
Right.
Have
I
disturbed
know
ground.
that.
But no,
So-
I'm happy with where it's at. I'm happy to move forward with where it's at. That's my 2 cents. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Eversole, are you gonna hold your, what you're asking?
Commissioner Shipley, I've asked for there to be half-acre lot sizes. I've not said 2 per acre. I've said half-acre lot sizes is what we need to be at.
Okay.
And I think we need to, and we need to trade, in floodplains, we need to swap acre for acre. But half-acre lot sizes, and let me rephrase it. I didn't say 2 per acre. I think lot sizes need to be half acres is the minimum as they need to be.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Commissioner Sharp.
Thank you, Chairman. A couple of things. I think Plan Hamilton came back from the state when? November? Was it October, November? Could someone confirm that for me? May I ask the attorney? I don't have my glasses on, attorney. I can't tell.
October.
October. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Well, that's more than 6 months right there. And as it's written, we can amend it every 6 months. We could have adopted this in October or November, studied it for the last 6 months, and be prepared to discuss amendments to this resolution, to this plan today when we all have all the same information. And, if I could go back in time, I believe that's what we should have done. We should have been voting on this in November and then studying it to see if there are adjustments that we could make now. But we didn't do that. Now, I like to think that I have presented the willingness on this board in my time here that when presented with new information, I can change my opinion. And I feel like I've received some new information today, some new math that I have not previously seen. And I want to study that because my conventional understanding of density and infrastructure expenses does not match this description. So I need some time to understand that, and I'm absolutely willing to study it. I think it's something that we should do in our diligence, but I need to study it. When this plan initially came about, and there was, this is one other topic I wanted to mention here with regard to amendments with the floodplain. Floodplains, that's something that's concerning to me. As so much so that I showed up here at the Planning Commission to request an amendment during the Planning Commission meeting. I bumped into our colleague from District 11 that day, and we were here for the same reason. And it was amended that day to allow for greater restrictions on floodplain development. My understanding in that conversation is that we would have the opportunity during subdivision regulations planning. Nathan, I don't know, when are we going to, when is that? Is that going on now? Chairman, may I?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
As far as updating subdivision regulations as a whole, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, my understanding is that once we got a plan established, then we would go into
Right.
Establishing more well-defined subdivision regulations.
Sure. Yeah. So we felt when we took over about 2 months ago, we felt like zoning code was the place to start because it's a little less complicated, and honestly, it's just extremely antiquated. Half the time you read it and you don't understand what it has to say. So we felt like that was the place to start. We've already started working on that part of it. We plan to tackle subdivision regulations after that, and we plan to use whatever you guys pass to inform that.
Right.
So the plan's supposed to be sort of your umbrella, and then everything filters down from there.
Right. Thank you for reiterating that. I thought that's how I remembered it. And during that conversation at the Planning Commission, the understanding is that once we established a plan and we got into subdivision regulations, there are even more things that we can do with regard to moving dirt to help address floodplain issues, and not necessarily an acre per acre, but a volume situation. Displacement of water happens not on a two-dimensional plane, but on a three-dimensional plane, and the volume of water is the issue, not necessarily the surface area of the water. With regard to Army Corps of Engineer regulations, I mean, that's kind of how I think that math is worked out. So I'm totally open to having that conversation also. Honestly, I would enjoy that conversation. I think we should be having those conversations. I think we should be planning, and I think this board should have workshops to establish well ahead of time what we will be voting on with regard to the planning. I wish we would have been doing that since November. But that's okay. We didn't do it that way. So now we're in June. Is it July now? No, is it July now? Good grief. It's July 1, isn't it? Time flies, whether you're having fun or not, doesn't it? So July, August, September, October, November. So December, come December, January next year, we should have some more information, I think, to bring back up and for a vote. But I really appreciate the thought and the consideration to these amendments. I think that the reasoning behind them, I understand that. I appreciate that. I do not disagree with that. But I think that we should have, had we done this in November, we'd been in a much better place to make these adjustments today. I think we need to vote on this, approve it as it is today, and then work diligently over the course of the next 6 months to create a consensus around adjustments and amendments to the plan as it currently is written. So Chairman, I intend to vote yes for this or no to the amendments, although I do respect the effort and the reasoning for which they were brought forward, and yes on the plan as it is currently presented. Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you, Chairman. My friend, and I say that seriously, Commissioner Sharp, said that we changed every 6 months. May I ask the attorney a question, sir?
Absolutely.
The way I read it, I thought that we could make changes every other month, like once on one side of the river, 1 month, the next side of the river. So in other words, every 2 months. Did I misread that?
I'd have to go back and check the plan, sir.
That was, I'm pretty sure that's what it said. It said of every 6 months, but that we could do it, bi-monthly. And I know we had a large group of of people who worked to make concessions over all these months. The people have been working, and we've had people from the unincorporated areas all over the county who have been meeting and working diligently and researching. And then what they got didn't come anywhere close to what Plant Hamilton was. It's just nowhere close. I know I've got some friends from East Brainerd that said they were pretty pleased with the original White Oak plan. And they thought it was good, and it's been wiped out. They said they don't like Plant Hamilton nearly as well as what they had with White Oak. But did you find that, Ms. Varnell? Or are you looking, you looked, he had a look of knowledge on your face. May I?
I do not know the answer to it, but I believe Mr. Janeway does.
Okay. Mr. Janeway? You have knowledge that Mr. Janeway has knowledge, right?
Well, we worked on this for several years, so I feel like I know it pretty well at this point. There is a clause in there about a 6-month review. There is a clause about a 1-year review. Those are both supposed to be sort of staff level and then proposed to the Planning Commission and the County Commission. There's also the opportunity for applicants to ask for a change to the plan every other month, depending on the side of the river. So if somebody in Ooltewah makes a change this month, then somebody on Signal could make a change next month, and then it would flip back and forth. But those are applicant requested changes. So like a comprehensive change would be typically on a 6-month or 1-year interval.
So thank you. So my friend Commissioner Sharp and I were both correct, just in different veins. So it's nice to be. I will say a lot of people feel like that the applicant should not be able to make that many changes that often, but I've got 2,200, I've had 2,200 emails, and 99% of them are again Plants Hamilton. 2,200 emails I've had. So at any rate, so I will be voting against. I'll be voting for the amendments and against Plant Hamilton as it is. If we put the amendments, I can see voting for it. Thank you.
Commissioner Eversole?
Yeah, great conversation. And I would ask this board, I handed out, and when I got finished a while ago, the data and the information that I used, and I give the clerk a copy. I think we need to be cautious that we don't create a trajectory that we can't sustain. And I think looking at what our peer counties have done and are doing is a great learning tool that we need to make sure that we study those around us. And again, it's not about stopping. It's about let's do this thing right. Because here's what's going to happen. If we don't get this thing right and we continue to overbuild and overdevelop, then it's going to cost this county major money down the road that we've not been spending in the past, that we're going to have to spend to get caught up. And it's going to put this body in a position to make decisions on tax base and taxpayers and on funding on things. And we're not going to be able to put money where we need to because we're going to put money in areas that we have to be putting money. And that's concerning. And if we don't look at the mistakes that other counties around us that are the similar size and are having even more population explosions than we are, because we're not the fastest growing county. We're having the pains of it, but we're not the fastest growing county. There's other counties that are saying, whoa, you can't afford the infrastructure with all this development. So we're going to have to put some things in place to do this thing the right way. So we still have development. We can still build homes for our kids and grandkids, put it in areas to where we have the infrastructure. And then where we don't have the infrastructure, let's work on the density at a less rate until we get the infrastructure in place. But the old saying is merely build it and infrastructure will follow. That went away in the 1900s. That went away. And I would strongly urge this body to support those two resolutions because I'm concerned in the direction that we're going. And while Plan Hamilton does show improvements, it doesn't show the improvements that we need in most of the areas where we've overbuilt. So I'll be voting obviously for my amendment and urge you to vote for it as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Baker?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd just like to invite a developer, Barry or Brian, either come up and just give your comment of the house per half acre on Signal, how that would work in your opinion. And I will say this, we had all these meetings, but there were a bunch of changes when the plan actually came up, like a bunch. So we did have the meetings, they just fell short.
Yeah. All right,
What was your question? Chair?
Commissioner
About the
Baker, let's.
half acre as it relates.
I'm
to Signal.
sorry.
No, you're good. Just let's make it quick. We have had public comment already.
Okay. A half acre on Signal Mountain is probably not going to fly. I just finished a house for my daughter on Signal Mountain, next door to where I live, 1.8 acre lot. And we barely had enough dirt for one house. And at that, we had to go to an LPP system to get it all worked out. So smaller lots on Signal Mountain, I don't think are going to fly. I don't think that 1 acre or 1.5 acre would make that much difference. What we're talking about really is everybody forgets gross density calculations. When we say 2 units per acre, that can equate to 5.8 houses on 1 acre of land. And that's what we're running into. We're getting 4 and 5 acres, 4 and 5 houses per acre on one acre.
Okay, Brian.
So
I just wanted to get your opinion on that half, and since you're a developer and you live on Signal.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Mackey, I see your light, sir.
Very quickly. There was a time, hasn't been that long ago, Hamilton County was losing population and your property values were going down. We took steps. We have attracted companies and jobs in, and we're healthy. But it has not always been that way. We have not always had the AAA bond rating. We had to do some heavy lifting to save these property values, and you can do the other thing. Let people move away. I wouldn't do it. Thank you.
All right, we have no further lights. Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second for the amendments as put forward by Commissioner Eversole. Roll call. On the amendments. This is for both amendments at the same time. One roll call.
One roll call on both amendments?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Beck?
No.
Commissioner Chauncey?
No.
Commissioner Eversole?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
No.
Commissioner Helton?
No.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
No.
Commissioner Sharp?
No.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes.
Motion
All right.
fails.
Fails on the amendment. All right, gentlemen, that takes us back to the original motion on adopting Plan Hamilton, moved by Commissioner Chauncey, seconded by Commissioner Mackey. Roll call, please. This is on Plan Hamilton. Roll call.
Commissioner Baker?
No.
Commissioner Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversole?
Absolutely not.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
No.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
No.
Chairman Smith?
No. All right,
Motion
yeses have it.
carries.
726-14 passes. That is the remainder of our items to be voted on this evening. It takes us into announcements. Commissioner Shipley.
No announcement.
Commissioner Baker.
No announcements.
Commissioner Mackey.
No announcement.
Commissioner Beck.
No announcements.
Commissioner Sharp.
I would only say that I hope to see everybody on Saturday down on the riverfront for the celebration of our 250th anniversary, fireworks and the drone show. I'm looking forward to it. Going to bring my family down there, and I wish everybody a happy Independence Day.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Helt.
No announcements.
Commissioner Chauncey.
No announcements.
Commissioner Highlander?
I encourage everyone to stand up for our country as we celebrate the 250th anniversary. I'd like to thank Ronnie Barnes for coming, and it was hard for Ronnie to come. And he's been a pioneer in our community, and he meant a lot for me, for my coming. Thank you.
Commissioner Eversole?
No announcements.
Commissioner Graham?
I too would like to follow my colleagues' lead and wish everybody a happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July, happy birthday, happy 250th birthday to our great nation. And that's what makes this nation great, is these discussions and these boards that get to vote like this in a free country. Also, I would like to tell everybody that, yes, there's a lot of things going on down on the river. There's a lot of things going on in communities. Be safe. Be safe. Don't lose your head with the fireworks. Be safe. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Attorney Varnell?
Yes, I need to have a very brief legal meeting immediately following this session.
All right. Mayor Wong? The legal meeting just totally took out every announcement you had coming up. Okay, got it. All right. With that, we're going to move to the public with any discussion that you'd like to bring before this body other than zoning. If anybody would like to address the commission, please come up to the mic. One at a time. Start with name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes. Mr. Bell, whenever you're ready.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, man with the $1 trillion voice. I want to be brief. I want to start out by saying I hope you all have a safe holiday travel and come back to see me because I've got a lot for you. 25C 919 in your circuit court. It is on appeal. Your clerks, your court office will not be able to respond. Now, let me repeat that. You've got until July the 9th, which is next Thursday, and your court clerks will not be able to respond to the record that's demanded of them in case 25C 919. And what does that mean? We sent them up what's called, let's see, we've got about 2 minutes. Plaintiff statement of damages and demand for judgment and plaintiff motion for supplement and correct the record on appeal pursuant to Tennessee Rule of Appeal and Procedure 24E. And plaintiff Monty Dwayne Bell's motion to correct clerical mistakes to include a motion for extension of time to file the record dated on April the 22nd of 2026 by Aaron H. Ebersol, Deputy Clerk, but the certified services is dated for January of 2024. The case was not filed until July the 21st of 2025, or 2020, yeah. So that means if you do the math, she cannot send up a record 920 days before we file it. It's impossible. It's impossible for anyone on any planet to do that. No psychic anywhere could do that. You've got until July the 9th to decide how you're going to award $2,111,034,000,000 to Black entrepreneur Monty Dwayne Bell that you all have deprived of business opportunities since 1992. All of you next week will get a copy of this. It's got everybody's photograph in it. What's astonishing, some of you that are here on the county commission, we're on the city council. And we're going to try to find out how so many people from the city are up here simultaneously with the county. You talk about growth, maybe a one-horse buggy town, but you're not serving two positions at the same time. You're not two people. And we'll see you when you come back.
Seeing no further comment, we will be adjourned and take a brief break for a legal meeting and back out for our agenda session.
Makes this agenda session.